Bobby's getting nervous, and I'm going past 8:30. It's 8:31. We're going to go ahead and get started. And I see we've got some county commissioners on here. It's always good to have county commissioners on here to hear what's going. And thank you for being on here. So in order to conduct the business that we do, we need to read into the minutes, and I'll ask Bobby to do that. That allows us to do the electronic meeting, and then I'll take roll to be sure that we've got a majority, even though I know we do. Bobby?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. If there is no objection from the members and subject to Executive Order number 78, the Highway Commission has determined that it's necessary that this meeting be held electronically to protect the health, safety, and welfare of the public due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Are there any objections to this finding by the board? Let the minutes reflect the board has made the determination to conduct this meeting electronically. I do want to remind everyone that all votes will be by roll call. Chairman will call your name, at which time you express your vote. I also want to remind you that prior to making a motion or second, or asking a question or making a comment, please state your name. Mr. Chairman?
Thank you, Mr. Cook. You always do a good job of that. And for you gentlemen that are listening to that, this will probably be the last time we'll do a virtual meeting. The order runs out the latter part of this month. And so from that point on, unless the governor extends that executive order, we will be meeting in normal at the Highway Commission meeting, and that is scheduled for May the 5th, if I'm correct on that. So next time we meet, it'll be May the 5th, and it'll be in person at the Highway Commission office. If you have issues with that, then please reach out to Eddie so that we can be sure we do have a quorum to conduct business on that day. All right, I need to call roll. So I'll just start. I'll go around as I see people here. Mr. Tyson?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Mr. Coleman?
Coleman, present.
Thank you. Mr. Davis?
Yeah, here.
Thank you. Mr. Wilson?
Wilson here.
Thank you. And I'm here. We have a full contingency of highway people, so we will start our business. The first order of business is to have the approval of the March 3rd, 2021 minutes. I'll entertain a motion. If you would, please give your name.
Coleman, so moved.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Wilson, second.
Thank you, Charles. We have a proper motion and a second to accept the minutes. Any corrections? You ready to vote? We'll do a roll call vote. Mr. Tyson?
Tyson votes yes.
Mr. Coleman?
Coleman, yes.
Mr. Davis?
Davis, yes.
Mr. Wilson?
Wilson, yes.
Anderson votes yes. Let the minutes reflect that the minutes were approved unanimously 5-0. Are there any special announcements that we have this morning? Eddie, do you know of anything special that we need to address?
No, sir, not to my knowledge.
All right. The next area is the citizens' communications. We do not have a way to do that this morning, and so we will suspend that, but we will pick that back up next month when we get back in session. Anybody that's listening to this wants to email myself or Mr. Hood with concerns or comments, please feel free to do that, and we will see that that is put in to the next meeting. We have no election and appointments. For you that just joined on just prior to this meeting, Mr. Tyson and Mr. Wilson were sworn in as Highway Commission again. We welcome them, we thank them, and we appreciate their service to our county. Moving on under the agenda, under old business, we do not have any, so we'll move on into new business, and I'll begin reading item number 1 under new business. and it reads as follows. Nathan McVeigh of T-Square Engineering presenting an off-site road improvement plans on Lewisburg Pike and Bethesda Road at Fairhaven subdivision. This is in Mr. Coleman's area and in Miss Hester and Miss Herbert County Commissioners District. Before we get a motion on this, Eddie, you want to kind of give us an overview on it, and then we'll let Mr. McVeigh talk us through it, and then we'll get a motion. Eddie?
Yes, sir. Thank you. Like you said, it's a subdivision off of Bethesda Road at the Williams property. It'll be the first property on the left. You turn off Lewisburg Pike. Chad had looked at this and myself, and I'm comfortable with it. They're going to use this existing driveway, the way I understand they can told me, and make it wider for the entrance. And they're going to do some work off of Lewisburg Pike on that intersection as well. I'm comfortable with this. I have no issues, and we just thought Nathan needed to come in front of the Highway Board to get their blessing on this as well. Nathan, you on here?
Yes, sir. Good morning, Mayor, ladies and gentlemen. So this request is twofold. The first piece is the right-hand or northbound turn lane off of Bethesda onto Lewisburg Pike. That was required by the traffic study for Fairhaven subdivision. And then the
Let me
second piece
interrupt
is
you. Let me interrupt you a minute. We can't hardly understand you. Get on the phone or something, because you can't really understand you too well.
Mr. McVeigh, you want to try that again?
Is that better?
That is better. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you. So I'll start over. Thank you. Good morning. So this request is twofold. The first being the northbound turn lane off of Bethesda onto Lewisburg Pike. That was associated with the traffic study with Fairhaven subdivision. And then the second part of this is the decel lane, which is located at our site access. The Lewisburg Pike improvements at Bethesda and Lewisburg Pike have been approved by TDOT for their portion. So we're here presenting you the Bethesda Road portion of that improvement.
You finished?
Nathan, I have a question. This entrance, one off of Bethesda Road, it is going to be at the existing entrance.
Eddie, we're getting feedback. Mr. McVeigh, would you turn your, there you go. Now, Eddie, go ahead.
I asked Nathan, I said, the entrance off of Bethesda Road will be the one that we discussed about. Y'all just gonna make it wider and put a decel lane into it, correct?
Yes, sir, that is correct. The site access for Fairhaven subdivision will be the existing drive for Williams property. We'll just make it wider and add that decel lane.
I got you. Thank you.
So let's go back to parliamentary procedures here. Let's get this on the floor so that we can proceed with it. Do I have a motion to put this up on the floor?
Coleman, so moved.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second, Tyson.
Thank you, Mr. Tyson. Now, are there questions from any of the highway commissioners? And then I'll shift over to our two county commissioners after that. Any questions of the highway commission on this? You've heard Eddie's comments that he is okay with this. And any questions? David?
No, sir, I'm fine.
Anybody else? All right, to our two county commissioners that are on here. Ms. Hester, I see your hand is up. Your question, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Will there be improvements on Lewisburg Pike at all at that intersection?
Yes, this is Blake Turner with T-Square Engineering. Just to kind of go over the overall improvements that are going to be at the intersection of Lewisburg Pike and Bethesda Road. We will be installing southbound left turn lane on Lewisburg Pike, which will be accessing Bethesda Road. And there will also be a westbound right turn lane on Bethesda Road that'll access Lewisburg Pike. So we're adding additional southbound left turn lane on Lewisburg and a right turn lane on Bethesda Road at that intersection.
Okay. Also another question. How many homes will be in Fairhaven subdivision?
There are 49 lots.
49 lots. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Commissioner. Judy, you have any questions? If Betsy, would you put your mic on mute for us, please? Judy, any questions you have?
No, Betsy asked my questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other questions? We've read into the minutes the request. You've heard the road superintendent give his blessing on this. Any other comments before we vote? All right, we'll take a roll call vote on this. I'll start off with Mr. Tyson,
Tyson votes yes.
Mr. Coleman.
Coleman, yes.
Thank you, David. Mr. Davis.
Davis, yes.
Thank you. And Mr. Tyson, Mr. Wilson.
Wilson, yes.
Thank you. Anderson votes yes. Let the records reflect it passed 5-0. Thank you, T Square, for being with us this morning on this item.
Mayor,
Yes.
this is Commissioner Herbert. I just have one question. How much property is this how many acres for these 49 houses? Was this under the 5-acre problem or the 1 acre? Do you know?
I don't, but I see Mike Madison on there. Maybe he can help us out.
Yes, Commissioner Herbert, this subdivision was submitted prior to the zoning change. I don't know the exact acreage, but it was approved under the 1 unit per acre zoning district. One of the last ones that came through under the previous zoning.
Okay, thank you.
Good question. Anything else on this one? We'll move on to the second item on the agenda under new business, a report for acceptance of Toll Bridge Way, Mead Park Drive, Mead Park Court, Toll Road Court, Vale Creek subdivision as part of the Williamson County road system. This is in Mr. Coleman's area, and again, our commissioners Hester and Herbert. I'll entertain a motion to get this up on the floor.
Coleman, so move.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Tyson, second.
Thank you. Explanation, Eddie?
Yes,
Or William?
this subdivision is off of Bethesda Road as well, right down below Reed Road to the right. It's an older subdivision, and they finally got it built out. Me and William have looked at this road, and I recommend approval for the report, and the resolution will follow next month.
Thank you. William, anything else on your part?
Recommend approval.
Thank you. Questioned by the Highway Commission for this report for acceptance. I see none. We'll do roll call. Mr. Tyson?
Tyson here.
Mr. Coleman?
Coleman, yes.
Mr. Davis?
Davis, yes.
Mr. Wilson?
Wilson, yes.
Thank you. Anderson votes yes. Let the minutes reflect that we voted unanimous, 5-0 on the report for the acceptance. We'll see the resolution next month. Item number 3 is the report for the acceptance of Riviera Court, Grasshopper Court, French River Road, Bob White Trail, Waterbridge Drive, Sierra Point, Arrington Retreat Subdivision, Section 4, as part of the Williamson County road system. This is in Mr. Wilson's area and our 2 county commissioners, Little and Lothers. I'll entertain a motion to get this up on the floor. Mr. Wilson, you want to do that?
Wilson, so moves.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Tyson, second.
Thank you, Mr. Tyson. Eddie?
Yes, so this subdivision is off of Nolanville Road on the left before you get to McCandless Road going towards the town of Nolanville. William and myself have looked at this road as well. and I recommend approval for the report. The resolution to follow next month.
Thank you. Are there questions? William, any of your comments?
Recommend approval.
Thank you. Any questions from the Highway Board? Ready to vote? Mr. Tyson?
Tyson votes yes.
Thank you. Mr. Coleman?
Coleman, yes.
Mr. Davis?
Davis, yes.
Thank you. And Mr. Wilson?
Wilson, yes.
Thank you, gentlemen. Anderson votes yes. Let the records reflect item number 3, the report for the acceptance of those things passed unanimously 5-0. The final item we have this morning, it's always good to see our school system representatives, and most everyone knows Kevin Fortney. And item number 4 is Kevin Fortney on the Williamson County School System regarding the traffic signalizations at Henpeck Lane and Lewisburg Pike. This is in Mr. Coleman's area, and our county commissioners Hester and Herbert. Good to have you here, Kevin. Just jump right in and tell us what you know about the intersection of Lewisburg Pike and Henpeck Lane. Thank you.
Good morning, Mayor. Thank you for having us attend here this morning. I have Eric Gardner with me in my office, who's our engineer and assistant director of facilities and construction. The Legacy High School project has been completed, of course, that y'all are aware of. And one of the conditions of approval of that project was that the school district perform traffic study at the intersection of Lewisburg and Henpeck Lane to determine whether a traffic signal was needed. Traffic studies demonstrated that the signal was needed. We had that designed by our consultants, which was Huddleston Engineering and Rich Phillips, who handled the signal portion of the project. We submitted our drawings and so forth to the state. We've received approval. Some of the conditions of approval were we're going to excavate the shoulders full depth along Lewisburg Pike and replace those. There'll be some asphalt overlay. There'll be the traffic signal itself will be a mast arm type signal. There will be 2 mast arms coming out. It'll provide for a left turn signal going, I guess it'll be northbound on Lewisburg Pike onto Henpeck. And of course, it's got the lane improvements for turn lanes and a small sidewalk in front of the new daycare facility. And we're asking that the County Highway Department accept this signalization maintenance into the County Highway Department road system.
Thank you, Kevin. Let me get comments from Eddie. Eddie?
Yes, sir, thank you. Yeah, this red light is long needed at this intersection. I know the 2 county commission hears all about this as well. And Chad Collier, our engineer, has looked at this as well. He is fine with this. And like Kevin said, this will be another light added to our fleet of lights we maintain now, but this is light is no doubt needed at this particular location. Now, and I support this 100%.
Thank you, Mr. Hood. I'll entertain a motion to get this up, and then we'll open it up for some more discussion. Since this is in Mr. Coleman's area, I'll see if he would like to make the motion.
Yes, sir. We have had calls on this also, but I do appreciate the staff and school board has done, and I move for approval.
Thank you, Mr. Coleman. Do I have a second?
Second, Davis.
Wilson.
Thank you, Mr. Davis. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I'll open it up to first of all, to any of the highway commissioners that would like to ask a question about this intersection and the work that you might have. Any questions?
I have one, Sir Tyson.
Thank you.
Is it programmed this light will be a full-time light or just a school hours light?
Kevin?
It's going to be a full-time traffic signalization. It will be on radar trip. By that, as traffic comes through, it will pick up the motion of the vehicles to determine how the light signals are changed. But it will be a full-time traffic signalization all three directions.
Thank you, sir.
This is David. Mr. Fortney, do we have an estimated completion date on the project?
We're preparing our bid documents right now. We're hoping to go out to bid. Well, we will go out to bid by the end of this month. Construction will be awarded 15 days later after the bid, and we expect 6 to 9 months for construction. We have been notified that there is a backlog of obtaining the poles that are necessary. So the contractor, they'll be going ahead and installing all the infrastructure to support the traffic signal, but there's a backlog of 6 to 9 months on traffic signalization poles.
I know there've been extenuating circumstances, and when we originally started talking about this, we hoped to have it completed before school opened last fall, which didn't happen. So, I mean, just my comment is I would really hope we could get it finished by school opening this coming fall, if that's at all possible.
We'll push it as hard as we possibly can.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Other questions? County Commissioners, any questions?
This is her. No questions. I'm really glad about this because I get quite a few calls about this. It's very needed. Thank you. Thank you for working on this, Kevin.
Thank you, Commissioner.
This is Commissioner Hester, and I would also like to say thank you, and in general, a thank you to the Highway Commission, but this light is much needed. Thanks.
So my question to you, Eddie, is we have accepted just in the last 30 days, if my memory serves, maybe 60, 4 additional lights that we are doing maintenance on state routes. Do you have a total number of light signalization that we're doing and throughout the county?
Yes, 15 lights is what we maintain throughout this county.
And at what approximately?
Those are, we had the one that we talked about yesterday. This one will be to put us up around 15 lights that we maintain.
And what is that annual cost that the state is shifting to us each year?
It's, I think we increased it to 12,000.
Greg said we increased our budget to around $12,000 to cover the maintenance for these lights per year.
That's a total or 12,000 more?
Total price.
So about $1,000 a year per light when we take one of these home.
Yeah, you don't really have much. These lights now, they so advanced now. They got the LED bulb, which they hardly ever burn out. They really come a long way. So it's very little maintenance. Really, what you get most of them on is the timing where they're set. You sometimes got to go back out and reset the timers, and some of them is, I think, Kevin said this is going to be light control, radar control, or whatever. But you don't really have much to do with these lights no more. Just every once in a while, they pretty much take care of themselves. They come a long way on our lights.
So, Eddie, when there's an accident at one of these intersections and one of these poles are damaged, that falls under our cost and jurisdiction. Is that correct?
Correct. Yes, sir.
So there is some potential liability cost. Not that I'm trying to fight it, and I know we get state revenue, a lump of money that you get each year for that. But I think as we move down the road and more of these state routes are being turned over to us or to the city, there are some incurring costs that potentially down the road. Just make everybody aware of that. Although I agree.
That's true. That's exactly true.
Yeah. Any other questions? Just comments? I appreciate Joe and Mike being involved in on all this. Thanks, Kevin, for doing what you can out there. Several years ago, I was driving through there. It was an accident, and so I got to direct traffic. So the quicker you can get that, the better off you are. I can tell you, it is a full-fledged traffic mess out there in the morning and afternoon. I just avoid it when schools are there. But thank you for doing what you can do.
Thank you, Mayor.
Anything else? Ready to vote? So we have a motion up on the floor to accept the traffic signalization at Hemtech and Lewisburg Pike. I'll make a roll call. Mr. Tyson.
Tyson, yes.
Thank you, Mr. Coleman.
Coleman, yes.
Mr. Davis.
Davis, yes.
And Mr. Wilson.
Wilson, yes.
And thank you, gentlemen. And this is Anderson. I vote yes. Let the records reflect it passed unanimously, 5-0. So moving on to our Highway Commission district reports, I'll start with Mr. Tyson.
Sir, I have nothing to report.
Thank you. Mr. Coleman.
No, sir, just appreciate all the help through the winter and the storms and all. The staff did a great job.
I concur. Thank you, David. Mr. Davis.
No problems out this way. Appreciate all the good work the guys do.
Amen to that. And finally, Mr. Wilson.
No new issues in our area.
All right, we'll turn it over to our Highway Superintendent's report. Eddie?
Yes, sir. We had a quite eventful last couple of weeks. The heavy rain that we came in March of 27 and 28, we got around 9 to 10 inches of water. We had over 61 roads with some type of damage, whether it be some of the roadway, the shoulder, or maybe a slide onto the road. We're in the process of cleaning that up. We put out over 100 high water signs, road closed signs during this time. And on the Sunday after which would be March 28th, we had crews actually had to come out and repair some roads immediately because they were gone. And we just, it's going to probably take another 2 to 3 weeks to get everything back up to what we consider satisfactory on my book. But the guy done a great job, and I want to commend him for that. They've done an outstanding job, and a lot going on over here right now.
Thank you, Mr. Hood. I concur. You guys did a great job. We are so thankful to have you as our superintendent and all the men and the women that we have working for us. I heard many attaboys on the work you've done. The only thing I'll report this morning, if you haven't heard through some other mechanism, our county continues to have COVID issues. As I was reporting earlier, our numbers have come down a little bit. We're at about 465 to 475. We had one new death in the last 24 hours. So continue to wash your hands, keep your distance, wear your mask where you can, and above all, get your shots if you feel that there's something that you can do. Finally, I will report, did the other night at Budget Committee, there are, if you haven't seen or heard lately, there are a lot of people moving into Williamson County. Joe's staff continues to be just inundated with new growth in our unincorporated area. During the month of March, there was 103 building permits issued for the unincorporated area of our county. That set an all-time record as long as we've been keeping numbers and books that we have ever had in 1 month. So for those that were beating the drum last year that or over the last 3 or 4 years of the things that the county commission has done, putting into place, putting in some mechanisms to help pay for these schools, roads, so many things we've done. Right now, it just appears that Everyone is moving to Williamson County that wants to move here. Premium prices are being paid on existing homes, as you have all heard. And just for 1 month to have 103 building permits is incredible. What Joe and his staff are having to process, along with all the other departments. So very, very interesting times we're in. Finally, I will report the Budget Committee. One of them is on here, Judy Herbert. We've gone through 2 days of hearings. We're walking the line on most everything that is occurring. The only real expense that we have programmed into the authorization of the Budget Committee is to put a 4% pay raise on all employees, including schools, beginning on July the 1st. It's been a very hard-working year. I'm very proud of all the employees in the county for what they have done and holding the line. Many of you remember last year we froze everything. We did not know what to expect, so we froze all budgets, schools, county general, including all pay. And so we're trying to reward our employees the best that we can. That's probably it in a nutshell. That we're extremely busy, just like the highway department is. There's no grass growing under anybody's feet. Bobby, anything on your side that we need to be aware of?
No, Mr. Chairman, there's no legal issues at this time.
All right. Anything else for the good of the cause this morning?
This is Commissioner Herbert. I just wanted to thank Eddie and the Highway Department. I know they worked really hard during our ice snow. Those guys are working 12-hour shifts and they were exhausted. And I really appreciate them, and I'm glad that we were able to approve 4% raise because they do deserve it. And they're a great bunch of guys. I can just say that they're what you call old Williamson County. They're all nice and friendly and always wanting to help when you call. Thank you.
Thank you.
I didn't swear better. I think it's election time this year, but I know it's next time. Good job, Judy. Anything else for the good of the cause this morning? Judy's very sincere, and I'm joking, but we have a great bunch of men out there. Anything else?
And you know, the best thing is about half of the highway department buys my tomatoes, so that makes them even better.
That may be a conflict of interest. We'll get that be strucken out of the minutes there. We can't be doing that. Bobby's turning red on me right now, Judy.
But they sure all good too.
Yeah. Mr. Coleman, give me a motion before we dig this hole any deeper and we can't get out of it.
I move we get off the layer right now. Absolutely.
All right. Thank you. And y'all have a good day. It's going to be a pretty one. Bye-bye.